Mr. Stump had a presence. Not the kind that came with authority or polished credentials, but the kind that curled around the edges of his body like cigarette smoke. A little mysterious, and a little absurd, and wholly unforgettable. He wasn't a typical teacher, mostly because he didn't pretend to be one. He taught drama, but it always felt like he'd fallen into it. Like it was Plan D after Hollywood didn't call and community theatre got too political. He used to tell stories about movies he'd been in. Long winding tales with plot holes you could drive a school bus through. Back when IMDb finally hit the scene, I looked him up like it was my civic duty. Nothing. Not a single credit. Not even a stunt double for the backup janitor in Jurassic Park 3. But that was part of his charm. He wasn't selling credibility. He was selling story. And I bought every damn word like it was a clearance sale at Big Lots. One day, without asking permission, or probably budget, he built a stadium. Yes, a stadium inside our oversized classroom. He wanted us to have a stage of our own, and he wasn't about to wait for district approval. There was technically a stage at Alta Sierra, tucked away in the cafeteria, but in my 2 years there I never saw it used for anything except dust collection. Assemblies and special speakers were always funneled into the gym, where the acoustics made every word sound like a raccoon trying to recite Shakespeare from inside a garbage can. But Mr. Stump's makeshift theatre? That was magic. Magic made of plywood and delusion. And I adored it. I hated every class I had that year, except drama. I counted the minutes until the bell would send me to his room. It was fun. It was weird. It was safe. He challenged us constantly. Like the time he brought in 2 video cameras and had us each record our own Swatch commercial. We were coached to say our lines into the first camera, then pivot our bodies dramatically toward the second, lift our wrists like soap opera villains and announce, "Swatch, it's the watch." Corny? Absolutely. But it was a kind of corny that tasted like home. 7th grade didn't come with any plays, just lessons and the occasional movie day when Mr. Stump seemed a little emotionally taxed. But most days he pulled it together. He had this gift for inviting us to think beyond the worksheet, to get out of our heads and into someone else's. He taught us how to channel our emotions instead of swallow them. For a young gay kid trying to untangle his own weird, wonderful wiring, that was salvation. 8th grade though, we got 2 plays. The first was cheaper by the dozen, and I was a lock for the lead. Mr. Stump even told me so. But when the casting sheet went up, I was listed as Doctor, Scene 6 only. Turns out, he cast himself as the dad. A man in his 40s, playing opposite my 12-year-old classmate, Moira. Romantic leads. I mean, sure, theatre is suspension of disbelief. But that required Cirque du Soleil levels of suspension. Still, I was grateful just to be backstage, eavesdropping on lines and waiting for my cue, even if it broke my heart a little. Spring came, and with it a musical, one Stump wrote himself. It was called The Andrew Quick Show, set in the style of a 1940s radio hour. Campy, clever, filled with goofy skits and songs performed by our most vocally gifted classmates. He told me he was writing it with me in mind, that I would finally lead the show. But when casting day came, he handed the role to Andrew Quick, because his name sounded more like a radio host. Apparently, the Lucas Coiner Porter show didn't have that golden age jingle Stump was hoping for. I was crushed. 2 for 2, Stumpy. But at least I got to watch AJ, aka the hottest boy in drama, change costumes backstage. So, silver linings. Then came high school. Mr. Stump transferred to Clovis East the same year I started. Despite the disappointments, I was excited to have him again. I'd learned by then not to believe everything he promised, but I still craved the chaos of his classroom. He liked me because I was a teacher's pet in a thrift store scarf. Easy to direct, eager to please. When he told me about the school musical, he once again dangled the lead in front of me. I had to remind him gently that I couldn't carry a tune in a lunch pail. He actually looked disappointed when I turned him down. That was a first. We did The Sound of Music, and he offered me the role of Herr Hans Zeller, the Nazi villain who slinks around the Von Trapp household like a fascist mall cop. I accepted immediately. What better way to honour my theatre roots than goose-stepping into puberty? The cast was delightfully chaotic. We didn't do traditional casting, we did blind casting before it was a buzzword. Maria and the captain were both Latinx. The Von Trapp kids were white, black, Latinx, and Hmong. The nuns included Unitarians, agnostics, and at least one full-blown witch. The Nazis, we came in all flavours, including Jewish. It was the most inclusive fascist regime ever staged in the Central Valley. We took a field trip to Visalia for costume fittings, and when we ran out of time, I had to ride the bus home fully dressed as a Nazi. Swastika armband and all. No time to change. We pulled into the school's theatre, which wasn't even a part of Clovis East, and since I lived nearby, I just walked home, through town, as a Nazi. My mum opened the front door and nearly fainted. I tried to explain it was for the play, but apparently that wasn't the point. She said she'd rather me walk home in my underwear. In retrospect, valid. We rehearsed from December to March. The theatre was huge, gargantuan, echoing, alive. Every scene felt like a cathedral. Lizzie and I even started ad-libbing during the So Long Farewell scene. 6 pairs would waltz on stage, line up, and listen to the Von Trapp kids sing their goodbyes. Lizzie would glance at me nervously and I'd shoot her a Nazi glare until she looked away. Every night, someone in the audience would chuckle. We never got caught. It was our secret gift to the crowd. It was only 5 months, but it felt like 5 years. I was living in the middle of personal chaos and parental storms, and that stage became my sanctuary. When the show ended, I spiraled. I didn't know what to do with myself. My rebellion against my mum, which had been simmering, exploded. Before the year ended, Stump told us we'd be doing The Crucible next. He cast me and Hildy as the leads, and we even started rehearsals in May. I kissed the top of Hildy's head over a dozen times in our scenes. I was ready. I needed something else to fall into. But I didn't return to Clovis East. And Hildy didn't get the lead either. Stump changed his mind and rewrote the full play into another radio show, the Tony Casada show this time. He always named the play after whoever got the lead. I was gone. The kiss-ass kid had vanished, but others would fill my seat. In my senior year, they revived The Sound of Music. Stump cast a boy named Chris Colfer as Kurt. That performance got him discovered. The creators of Glee even named the character Kurt after the role he played in our little Clovis theatre. He went on to win a Golden Globe. I went on to become a sex worker. Life's funny that way. A few years ago, I heard Mr. Stump died from prostate cancer. He wasn't even 60. My heart cracked open. He'd lied to us, drank in his car during movie days, and broke more promises than I could count. But I respected him. I loved him. He saw the chaos in me and didn't try to stifle it. He tried to turn it into art. There's a scholarship in his name now. Kids apply for it without knowing who he was. Just a name and a list of options. But to me, and to the rest of us who got to spin our own messy stories inside his cardboard theatres, he'll always be the man who showed us we were worth a damn. And somewhere in the back of my brain, Mr. Stump is still cueing the lights, still yelling, "Places!" and still somehow promising me the lead.